In the bustling city of Madras, India, now known as Chennai, lived a man whose mind danced with numbers. His name was Srinivasa Ramanujan, a quiet, humble clerk who worked at the Madras Port Trust. He had no formal education in higher mathematics, no degree, and no professional mentorship. But what he did have was genius. From a young age, numbers called to Ramanujan like music. While other children played in the streets, he filled slate after slate with calculations, intuitively grasping mathematical truths that took most scholars years to learn. But Ramanujan didn't learn math, he felt it. He claimed his insights came to him in dreams, often delivered by his family goddess, Namagiri. To him, math was not just a subject. It was divine. In a world without internet or libraries, he hunted down borrowed textbooks, including one called A Synopsis of Elementary Results in Pure and Applied Mathematics by Carr. It wasn't a teaching book, it simply listed thousands of theorems. Most would find it useless. But Ramanujan studied each line, absorbed it, and began deriving his own results, many without proof, but almost always correct. He began compiling his discoveries into thick notebooks, not one or two, but entire volumes. These weren't simple equations, they were bold, unfamiliar formulas involving infinite series, prime numbers, partitions, and continued fractions, concepts even seasoned mathematicians struggled with. Yet no one in India took notice. Most dismissed him as a mere hobbyist. A poor man with big ideas. With no platform, no recognition, and growing desperation, Ramanujan knew he had to try something daring. In 1913, he wrote a letter to G.H. Hardy, a brilliant and respected mathematician at Cambridge University in England. This wasn't just any letter, it contained over 100 theorems Ramanujan had discovered entirely on his own. When Hardy opened it, he was stunned. These weren't the ramblings of an amateur. They were rich, innovative, and breathtakingly original. Some equations were beyond anything even he had ever seen. It was as if a master had emerged from the shadows, out of nowhere, from across the world. And so, with that one letter, born out of isolation, intuition, and a relentless pursuit of truth, Ramanujan's journey truly began. A journey from the hot, dusty streets of Madras to the cold, elite halls of Trinity College at Cambridge. A journey that would challenge the very definition of genius, and force the Western academic world to reckon with a mind unlike any it had ever known. When Ramanujan arrived at Cambridge, it was as if he had landed on another planet. The air was colder, the skies were darker, and the people, distant. The quiet courtyards and stone walls held centuries of knowledge, but also centuries of exclusion. Here, he was an outsider in every sense. A foreigner. Yet, in the quiet corners of the university, where numbers ruled over prejudice, something rare began to unfold. He met G.H. Hardy, not a friend at first, but a formidable mind. A man ruled by reason, who found faith only in the logic of mathematics. What began as tension, slowly turned into collaboration. Two worlds clashing, then blending. The mystic and the mathematician. Hardy was precise, analytical. Every idea had to be proven, step by step. Ramanujan? He knew his results. He said they came to him in dreams. He believed they were gifts from his goddess, not puzzles to be solved. To Hardy, this was dangerous. Genius without proof was just chaos. So he challenged Ramanujan to explain. To ground his visions in structure. Their arguments were fierce. Their respect was mutual, and over time, something beautiful happened. Ramanujan sharpened his rigor. Hardy opened his eyes to beauty beyond logic. Together, they pushed mathematics further than either could alone. But while brilliance bloomed in Cambridge, the world outside was unraveling. World War I tore through Europe. Soldiers marched. Rations dwindled. Students vanished from the university halls. And in the quiet of that academic exile, Ramanujan began to wither. Far from home, cut off from his wife and family, he suffered in silence. Illness clung to him. Tuberculosis, depression, and a body weakened by malnutrition began to take their toll. Yet even in fever and solitude, he wrote. His mind refused to stop. He uncovered the mysteries of partitions. He played with infinite series like melodies. He explored mathematical truths no one else could even see. While his health declined, his legacy expanded. In 1918, the walls of British academia finally cracked open. Srinivasa Ramanujan became a Fellow of the Royal Society, the highest honour a scientist could receive. Not just in Britain, but anywhere. He was also made a Fellow of Trinity College, the same halls where Newton had walked, now open for a man born in colonial India. It was a moment of recognition, of triumph, but not of healing. His body was failing. And even with the accolades, he longed for home. Ramanujan returned to India in 1919, frail and sick, but with notebooks filled with brilliance. The warmth of the Indian sun and the embrace of his family couldn't undo the damage. He had lived barely 3 decades. But in those 32 years, he had seen into realms of mathematics few ever glimpse. On April 26, 1920, he passed away quietly. But his work was just beginning. His notebooks, filled with equations even he hadn't fully explained, would guide mathematicians for generations. Some of his ideas still baffle the brightest minds today, some found purpose 100 years later, in the mathematics of black holes and string theory. Years after Ramanujan's death, Hardy still couldn't forget him. He once wrote, "It was the one romantic incident of my life. My greatest discovery." Hardy, the man of reason, had met a man of faith, and been forever changed. He had seen what genius looked like when it burned hot, fast, and pure. He had seen the infinite, through the eyes of Ramanujan. Ramanujan's story isn't about success in the conventional sense. It's not about wealth, or power, or even fame. It's about a mind that refused to be ignored. A soul that found the divine in numbers. A life cut short, but not before it touched the infinite. He came from poverty. He left behind a treasure trove of insight. He lived misunderstood. He died too soon. But through mathematics, he achieved immortality. Because Srinivasa Ramanujan didn't just do math. He felt it. He dreamed it. He lived it.